What's up, guys? Alvaro here, and welcome back to the bilingual stock market channel. Let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, Apple, Chargepoint, and Alibaba. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The S&P 500 goes up today 1.50% and closed today's trading session at 3,902 points. The S&P 500 has been going up during 4 consecutive trading sessions, and obviously the $1 million question over here is, can this rally last longer? And the answer depends on the jobs report of June that is coming out tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what are the markets waiting for? We are waiting for 250,000 new jobs that have been created during the month of June. And the most important metric that we need to keep a close watch on tomorrow is going to be average hourly earnings. What the markets are waiting for, or what we are waiting for, we can also say, is an increase of 5% year over year. Any figure below 5% is going to obviously be good news for the bulls from an inflation standpoint. And when it comes to the jobs report itself, any figure below 250,000 new jobs is going to be positive for the bulls, because that implies that the labor market is weakening. And that is one of the goals that the Federal Reserve wants to achieve in order to control inflation. So if we happen to have a larger number relative to 250,000 jobs, that is going to be bad news for the bulls. We might see a dump of the S&P 500. If that were the case, needless to say, if average hourly earnings happen to come out hotter than expected, say, let's say 5.5% or 6% or something like that, that is going to be the perfect excuse for the bears in order to take over the S&P 500 once again. So the opening of tomorrow's trading session is going to be very, but very important, guys. If we open above 3,900, watch out for the first main level of resistance for the bulls at 3,940 points. We are talking about a previous resistance back from June 20th. Sorry, guys, if I can speak today, back from June 27th. And if the bulls can take on 3,940 points, 3,945 points, then the door opens for the bulls to make another push higher and maybe being able to fill the next important gap up to 3,980 points. This is a previous resistance back from May 23rd. However, if the bulls or if the trading session kicks off below 3,900, then the door opens the door opens for the bulls to pay a visit down to 3,820 points. This is the lower pivot back from May. And if the bulls can't hold or are unable to hold 3,820 points, then watch out for this 50 SMA on the 4-hour chart at 3,790 points. Because if this moving average, which so far has been the only important moving average that the bulls have been able to reconquer, if this area of support happens to be broken to the downside, this is going to be good night Irene for the bulls. The RSI of the S&P is at 62 points on the 4-hour chart. It isn't that elevated. So we can make the case that if we happen to have a good jobs report for the bulls, maybe they are going to be able to fill this next important gap up to 3,980 points. And on the flip side, if the report happens to be negative, we have the RSI high enough for us to see a huge dump in the S&P 500. Keep also in mind the trend is down. The S&P is still in a technical downtrend below most of the moving averages. So obviously the S&P 500 is still guilty until proven innocent. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the NDX, Nasdaq 100. The tech people, the technology people, this index goes up today 2.16%, and it closed today's trading session at 12,109 points. Very good day for the bulls, very solid day for the bulls. And the bulls are about to fill a very important gap over here, guys, up to 12,100 points. Keep in mind, guys, that despite the fact that the indices went up today, we had a negative mechanical process in the markets today because TNX, the 10-year Treasury yield, went up a lot today, guys. It went up 3%, almost 3%, and it is sitting once again above 3%. So bad news from a mechanical standpoint for the bulls over there, and mostly for tech-oriented stocks, growth stocks, higher multiple stocks, and so forth. So keep a close watch on the TNX, or the 10-year Treasury yield, because if it keeps on going higher, then that is very likely to put downwards pressure on the Nasdaq 100, regardless of the result of the jobs report that is coming out tomorrow. So keep a close watch on 12,200 points. And why, guys? Well, in the case of the NDX, 12,200 points happens to be a previous resistance back from late June. And if I pull up here a 3-year chart, sorry guys, but I am 100% improvising over here. 1200 points also happens to be a previous support for the bulls back from March of last year, and also a previous resistance back from November of 2020. So 1200 points is a very, but very important spot for the bulls. We can make the case that if we happen to open the trading session above 12,200 points, the bulls have room up to 12,400 points, 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart, and also a previous support back from early June. And if we happen to open the trading session below, let's say that we get a very negative jobs report, watch out for 12,000 points, guys. 12,000 points is a previous resistance back from late May. So if we happen to open the trading session below 12,000 points, then the door opens for the bulls to pay a visit down to the lower pivot back from May at 11,500 points. The RSI of the NDX is at 68 points, a bit elevated. So even having a very positive jobs report for the bulls, we can expect some sort of pullback anytime soon. Anytime soon in the case of the Nasdaq 100, clear downtrend, technical downtrend, and as I just said, in the case of the S&P 500, the NDX, the Nasdaq 100 is guilty until proven innocent. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Apple. What is going on over here? The most important stock in the stock market goes up today 2.40% and closes the trading session at $146.35. Take a look at the RSI, guys. Apple is, as of now, officially overbooked with its RSI pointing at 73 points on the 4-hour chart. So we have a next gap up to $148. $148 happens to be a previous support back from November of last year. So I am seeing two possible scenarios over here. The first scenario, a retracement of Apple down to a previous area of support at $144. $144 happens to be a previous support back from June 6th. So if the bulls of Apple happen to pull back and they find support at $144, then we might see another bounce back up to the area of resistance that I just told you guys about at $148. So if we were able to take this trade from $144 up to $148, we would be making almost a 3% profit. Another scenario, put options, guys. And why? Well, because if the bulls of Apple happen to be rejected at $148, we can get some puts and write them down to $144-ish. Let me take a look at the market structure of Apple. This is very important, guys. We have, as of now, the market structure sentiment of Apple at 4.4 points out of 10. Kind of acceptable. And we can see over here a greater demand for shares of Apple relative to the current supply of shares of Apple in the market. So we have an acceptable market structure for the most important stock in the stock market. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Chargepoint, which went on an absolute tear today. Chargepoint goes up today 10.44%, closes today's trading session at $13.75. And take a look at the spot, guys, in which the bulls of Chargepoint were rejected at in today's trading session, right at $14. The RSI of Chargepoint is sitting at 56 points, not elevated at all. So I'm thinking, guys, that if the bulls of Chargepoint can take on this 50 SMA on the 4-hour chart at around $14, at the same time, they are going to be able to take on the 100-day moving average at $14.15, and maybe they could also make another push higher to try to fill the other gap up to $15.40. This is a previous resistance back from early March and also back from mid-February. So if we were able to take a momentum trade with a Chargepoint bursting above $14, and if we happen to ride our shares up to $15.30-ish, this would be a 9% profit trade. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the market structure of good old Chargepoint. What is going on over here when it comes to the demand and supply of shares of Chargepoint? So let me pull up here quickly Chargepoint market structure, and what do we find? 5.4 out of 10. So this is also an acceptable market structure sentiment. And as of now, we have a greater demand for shares of Chargepoint relative to the supply, but we have a fall in demand and also a fall in supply. What we want to see when it comes to the market structure of any given stock is a rise in demand and a fall in supply. In this case, that isn't the case. So we don't have a very encouraging or a 100% encouraging market structure for Chargepoint as of now. And in order to wrap up this video, let's go ahead and take a look at good old Alibaba. Goes up today 2.75% and closed today's trading session at $122.39. I'm trying to speak as quick as possible, guys, because I don't want to make long videos for you. So something very important happened today with Alibaba. The bulls of Baba, guys, were able to take on today the 200-day moving average after more than a year. This is very, but very important. As of now, Alibaba is officially reversing the horrible downtrend that Baba has been dealing with since, I don't know, like forever ago, mid of last year. So this is very important. From a technical standpoint, the next important gap for the bulls of Baba is going to be up to $129. $129 happens to be a previous resistance back from February and also back from December of last year. So Baba closed today's trading session slightly above the 200-day moving average at $122. Watch out for the bulls of Baba consolidating tomorrow slightly above the 200-day moving average, because in that case, they might be gathering momentum in order to make another push higher in order to fill this gap that I just told you guys about up to $129. If we were able to take a trade on Baba from $122-ish up to $129, this would be a 6% profit trade. Take a look at this uptrending channel that Baba is trading in since mid-April. Baba is looking very, but very good from a technical standpoint. Over here, we can also see a golden cross with the 50 SMA crossing above the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. This occurred in early June. Baba is also above the 100-day moving average on I'm not going to say on a clear uptrend, but inside a very clear uptrending channel. The RSI is at 62 points, so I think that Baba is very likely to be able to fill this gap up to $129 anytime soon. So very good job for the bulls of Baba. And now let's go ahead and take a look. I haven't taken a look, guys, by the way, at the market structure of Alibaba. It must be looking pretty well, I think, taking into account the technical chart. And take a look at these, guys. We have 9 out of 10 when it comes to the market structure sentiment, and we have a way greater demand for shares of Baba relative to the supply. So let's see what happens with Alibaba, guys. I might be grabbing some calls. 2 months ago, this was a very ugly looking chart, and the bulls finally managed to burst above the 200-day moving average. They are starting to reverse this horrible downtrend. So watch out for Alibaba. And with Baba, I am going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for hanging out with me once again. Remember, and keep in mind, guys, that here on the Bilingual Stock Market channel, we are posting stock market update videos Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. So if you want to get all of the notifications of all of our videos in a timely manner, you have to be subscribed, guys, to this YouTube channel, but you also need to activate the notification bell right up there. Follow us on Instagram as well, guys, at Bilingual Stock Market. And remember, this is the Bilingual Stock Market channel, the YouTube channel in which we talk about the markets. But we do things differently because we talk about the markets in 2 different languages, English and Spanish, so you can pick your preferred language. But most importantly, this is the YouTube channel in which we know that the wonderful world of Wall Street is not for geniuses, it is for entrepreneurs, just like you guys and myself. My name is Alvaro, and I will see you guys on Monday, once again, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. Peace out, guys. You have a very nice weekend. Bye.